Erev Tov Chavrim, I'm Stephen Ben-Nun. You're watching Israeli News Live, and boy, it looks like my glasses are already dirty. But anyway, hey, listen, there is a lot of things breaking, a lot of things that are going on right now, and just want to kind of get you guys caught up in the loop about these things. Uh, about an hour ago, I guess we could say there, the people there in Gaza began to fire rockets off over towards Ashkelon. And it just so happened that Netanyahu was doing a campaign speech there in Ashkelon when these rockets went off and started landing over there in that area there. I actually picked it up originally about 4 minutes after it happened from one of the IDF posts on Twitter. The Jerusalem Post put it out here. A similar incident happened in Ashdod in September when rocket sirens were fired as Netanyahu held a campaign event in the city. Kind of makes you wonder about the prophecy that Ashkelon would be a safe haven. Must not have anything to do with this right now because Netanyahu was sent scurrying off the platform for a bomb shelter as this happens. I can only imagine, though, what the retaliation by the Israeli military is going to be. And you can count on one thing, it's not going to be anything light. Israeli artillery attacked sites belonging to the terrorist groups in northern and southern Gaza Strip after a rocket was fired into Israel and successfully intercepted by the Iron Dome system, causing rocket sirens to blast in Ashkelon and areas north of the city on Wednesday evening, according to the Palestinian media. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu was holding an event in Ashkelon as the rocket sirens went off. This is what's being reported on the Jerusalem Post, by the way. Sirens were heard in Ashkelon, Imunim, Sadi, Ozihu, Ezrachim, Berganim, Berachaya, Choria, Netzanim, Nir Yisrael, and Bertuvia. So Netanyahu was taken off stage to a shelter as the sirens were sounded, and the culture minister Miri Regev took the stage in his place. Other Likud officials who were at the event were not brought to a shelter. Netanyahu returned to the stage shortly afterwards. Well, I shouldn't say why did the president go then, but hey, I'm sure they're concerned for his safety, and as we are concerned for the safety of both Israelis and Palestinians, and this is just not gonna end well. It just never will. It's not ending good for the Palestinians. It's not going to end good for the Israelis. Eventually, it's just more and more bloodshed, and just seems to be no end in sight. This was a very interesting broadcast by CBS News. Trump tweets, quote, calling him the second coming of God to Jews in Israel. I don't know if this is exactly the way he treated that, or tweeted that, but I think what the tweet actually is saying is that that he is looked at as the king of Israel. Let me just share with you here what the statement goes off here on this particular
Getting bashed
video.
again for repeating a comment about Jewish Americans. He told White House reporters yesterday that any Jewish person who votes Democratic is being, quote, disloyal.
In my opinion, you vote for a Democrat, you're being very disloyal to Jewish people, and you're being very disloyal to Israel.
It was the second day in a row Mr. Trump questioned the loyalty of Jews, a type of attack that anti-Semites often use. The president mentioned it the first time in slamming two congressional Democrats who were blocked from entering Israel this month. Ilhan.
Yeah, it's kind of strange, though. You tell the American people if they vote Democrat, they're disloyal to the Jewish people. There's a lot of Jewish people that are Democrats. I happen to be a Republican myself, but I wouldn't vote for any of these clowns that we have going on right there. And as far as saying that that's disloyal, that would go against many Israelis who really would like to see peace brought between Palestinian and Israelis. We do have a lot of Israelis that do not support a totalitarian government in the Middle East there. They do want democracy, and that's never going to happen. But then again, these two women on the screen right here, I can't help but believe that these were actually put there as part of a circus that they wanted to create with the Middle East. I really question the loyalty. Maybe not with the lady that's Palestinian, but this lady right here, I really question their loyalty to the people of the Palestinians there that are living in Israel, I question that greatly. Something just seems fishy about how they got into politics. Maybe not the lady that's Palestinian descendant, but the other one, I really is an odd situation. Yemen lifeline threatened by attacks on aid groups, according to the report right here coming off of the Middle East Eye. It says here that international NGOs have suspended work in southwestern Yemen after weekend attacks by unknown fighters. And those fighters, they say here, after almost 5 years of war, millions of Yemenis have become reliant on aid for survival, but they now fear they'll be cut off from this crucial lifeline after attacks on international aid groups operating in their country. A number of international non-governmental organizations have suspended their work in Al-Dal region after their offices were attacked. Rocket-propelled grenades over the weekend. And the attacks in southwest Yemen follows a campaign carried out against the aid groups, accusing them of being enemies of Islam and using their work as a front for missionary work. Well, you know what? So what? If they're trying to spread the gospel of Jesus Christ through their aid of giving, so what? You know, I mean, what's wrong with these fighters? You know, it's terrible. All the killing and most all these wars all fight over religious views and beliefs. Israel wants to be a Jewish state. I'm against that as well. You know why I'm against it? Because even, granted, we know the Rothschilds is what brought the state of Israel back, right? But nonetheless, the people are there. Many of them are born there. It should be Israelites, not a Jewish state, which narrows it down to just one tribe only. We can't have that, can we? No way, that can't be. Anyway, the Jerusalem Post is reporting also here that 5 killed in strikes against Iranian militias in eastern Syria. No information is currently available on the scale of the damage or injuries. It is unclear if the explosions were caused by an airstrike or a long-range missile. This was reported today, December 25th, 2019. 5 people were killed in a missile attack on sites belonging to Iranian militia in the Deir ez-Zor area, eastern Syria, near the border with Iraq. According to the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights, this is the second attack reported in the area this week. The headquarters of the Iranian militia in the city of Abu Kamal and a site in Al-Jalal, located north of Abu Kamal, were struck in the attack. No further information is currently available on the scale of the damage. And, you know, this has been a heavily contested area there in the first place. The United States trying to get control of this area, the Syrian government trying to get control of it, the Kurds trying to get control of the area, have been backed by the U.S. And, of course, ISIS militants are also still in that area. And Israel trying to pave a way for their pipeline to come through this area as well. So Israel is not going to give it up. That's something that I gotten from intelligence from Israel several months back, that Israel will make a way, one way or the other. They're going to take the Idlib province, not the Idlib, excuse me, but Deir ez-Zor province there, because of their pipeline that has to go through there. So that's something we can anticipate. Libya's naval force, we've dispatched over 370 patrols to depict Haftar's forces' movements. It's coming out today as well. And they're saying that the commander of the naval forces front line of the Volcano of Rage operation, Rida Issa, said they have dispatched over 370 surveillance patrols over the last few months. And Issa added that the patrols were tasked with gathering information about the attack forces and the movement of ships, saying they depicted groups that was trying to carry out missions at Al-Zawiya and Tripoli ports. Issa added that the new naval force patrols depicted several foreign warships as well as submarines, including one of a Syrian warships off northern Misrata, besides an electronic warfare ship from a country supporting Haftar. Sounds like an American ship to me. What is it to you? Also, Russia. Damascus is preparing a lawsuit against the United States for looting of Syrian oil. You know how well that's going to go over. That's like dropping a lead balloon. You know, I mean, Trump controls all the judges in America practically, and you're going to file a lawsuit for Americans looting oil when he's publicly for it. President Bashar al-Assad, you should know better. And do you really think that Russia has your back? I don't doubt that some of the people like Sergei Lavrov and others that are in the Russian government might not have sincere interest for the Syrian people, but President Putin, he is right in the Chabad pocket all the way. And so therefore, whatever Israel says, he shall do. So just keep that in mind when you're trying to do this this particular lawsuit. This is also in the Middle East. We've already discussed this. The 5 killed in the attacks belong to the Iranian-backed militias. We already covered that. By the way, we are working feverishly. I should say I myself anyway, am working feverishly on the Feast of Israel and the fulfillment thereof. I really I don't know how long it's going to take me to do. I worked on it a lot yesterday. I've actually been working on this for months, but actually putting the evidence together for you is what takes a tremendous amount of time. And I say the fulfillment because a lot of people believe that the spring feasts are fulfilled. The Passover, Feast of Unleavened Bread, even Pentecost. Many believers in Yeshua believe that these are fulfilled. But when it comes to the fall feast, Sukkot, Yom Kippur, for the Feast of Trumpets, a lot of believers think that these have never been fulfilled, and we're waiting for them to be fulfilled. And yet, oddly enough, the Gospel of John should answer this question for you, especially when it comes to Yom Kippur, because he speaks right about that, but nobody ever pays attention. Well, oddly enough, in the Dead Sea Scrolls writings, they go into the Yom Kippur, the Feast of Tabernacles, all of that, and how will it be fulfilled. And it's actually fulfilled with the advent of the Mashiach, the Messiah, with his new covenant. I can't wait to share this with you because it really speaks volumes. And so I want to share that information with you. It'll totally give you a new perspective. And it would make more sense why many people from this community here were probably those that actually believed the message of Jesus Christ in the first place. It was obvious their views on the Melchizedek priesthood, not a Shemite priesthood, as many are trying to purport to say the Masoretic text of the book of Jasher. Totally fabricated information, totally changed information to put Shem as Melchizedek. That followed Talmudic tradition. So you're going to have to get the Talmudic glasses off, and we got to really take a look seriously at the Word of God and see how these feasts are fulfilled. So I am working on it. Many of you have written to me about this, and I haven't forgot about it. I am working on that, as well as I am working on the DVD that hopefully will be out. We have a conference coming up on February the 8th here in Orlando, Florida. That is on our website. John Moore will be speaking. Myself and my wife will be speaking. Yana will be speaking at that conference. If you want to get your tickets, you can do so. Just go to our website. You'll see where you can click on the tickets. It's the same place we normally hold the conference there. It is very limited seating. It's not as big as we normally have it there, so we only have 130 seats that are available. People have already been buying tickets for that conference. It's a one-day conference. John Moore will be speaking about the situation with the changes that the earth will go through, that he has from the intelligence community that he spoke about. He'll be speaking about the possible civil unrest, civil war, whatever you want to call it here, coming in America. He'll be speaking that morning. I think Yana speaks the second, and I forget exactly what she says she's going to speak on this time, and then I'll be speaking as well. But I'm hoping to have for release the DVD. It's going to be in a set. I don't know if it's going to be 2 or 3 DVDs. Where I really go into the Nephilim, the return of the Nephilim, how they have come down through time, and I'm really going very deep into that. So I'm still building, I'm rebuilding the PowerPoint presentation. I would have loved to have spoke on that when we were up at Brother Mark's church, but I kind of held back on some issues there. But more of that I'm going to get into in the DVD. So if you want the uncensored, unfiltered version, it's going to be there. And I also will include a portion on redemption in that DVD, because I want people to realize, you know, when it comes down to it, it's by their fruits you shall know them. Don't think just because you come from an Orthodox Jewish background or something like that excludes you, or you're Nephilim because your family were Orthodox Jews. No, that's not the case. All right? You know from your heart who you love and who you believe. There's the answer to that question there. Although there is a bloodline in there, but still, there was always a possibility of repentance. All right? And I'm going to go into all these things. So anyway, go to our website, israelinewslive.org. Register for that conference coming up, or buy the tickets. You have to buy. They're not that expensive. I think it's like it's an odd price because of the way this ticket system works. It's kind of a weird price. Like I think it's like $27.57 or something like that per person. We had to do it that way because every time people say they're coming, we always end up with a whole bunch of people that don't come. They are non-refundable. That's the other issue as well. There is no refund for it if you purchase a ticket. That way we don't have a problem where we can't do anything about it afterwards. Our facility cost us close to $2,000 in order to be able to have the conference there. So this is why we do the tickets, to cover the cost of the facility alone. Anyway, God bless you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your support of this ministry as well. And hopefully either today or tomorrow, probably more like tomorrow or the next day, sometime hopefully this week, I'm going to get this video out about the feast. Thank you for watching. In a world of Ein Shalom, there is no peace. Now I got to cover up the camera in order to turn this off.